Hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar, sizlarni navbatdagi shouba muhokamasiga taklif qilamiz. Mavzu: chiroqlar, kamera, kelajak, ertangi kinoning rivojlanish yo'llarini chamalash. Muhokama moderatori Emmanuel Fasilyon, Fransiyaning Rossiya, Qozog'iston, Tojikiston, O'zbekiston, Qirg'iziston va Armanistondagi mintaqaviy audiovizual attashesi. Dear ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the next panel discussion, Lights, Camera, Future, Mapping Tomorrow's Cinema. Moderator, Emmanuel Fasilyon, Regional Audiovisual Attaché for France. Panelists, Farida Helfa, documentary filmmaker; Dmitry Tokayakov, head of visual effects at Plus Studio, Yandex; Ezekiel Onyango, executive producer, Kenya Film and Television Association; Andre Timmis, co-founder and director of Wishcraft International. Hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar, konferensiya ishtirokchilari, biz sizlarni yana bir bor asosiy sahna qarshisiga taklif etamiz. Ladies and gentlemen, participants, we kindly invite you to the main stage. Ladies and gentlemen, once again we invite you to the next panel discussion. Lights, Camera, Future, Mapping Tomorrow's Cinema. Moderator Emmanuel Facilion, Regional Audio-Visual Attaché for France. Panelists Farida Khalfa, documentary filmmaker. Dmitry Takayakov, head of visual effects at Plus Studio, Yandex. Ezekiel Anyango, executive producer, Kenya Film and Television Association. Andre Timmins, co-founder and director of Wizcraft International.
Hello, good afternoon. So we are here to talk about cinema, and I'm very glad about it because I'm in charge of cinema relation with France and Central Asia. So it's very great pleasure to be at the World Conference of Creative Economy today. And we will focus on the future of cinema and the question, the issues that are raised by the use of new technologies, artificial intelligences, media, image generative, and others we will talk about now. There is several issues also because we come from with Farida Kelfa, I want to mention, we come from the documentary ground. And so it raises the question of the reality, the truth, the authenticity of the fact we are talking about. And so it's some issues we will handle today. So thanks to Farida Kelfa, who is documentarist. Hello.
Hello, hi, how are you?
We
I think I have a micro, yeah? Is it working?
We hear you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. With Dimitri Tokayov, who is working for the Yandex studio. We will arise the questions of the technologies itself. What are the plus and minus of the artificial intelligence and other new technologies? And with Ezekiel Onyango, hello, working for the television of Kenya. We will also talk about the application, the question of intellectual property, and how it is used in the production field. And hello.
I'm from IFA. I'm representing IFA. He couldn't make it. The flight got cancelled. So I'll be talking a little about the Indian film industry and IFA.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thank you to join us today. I wanted to show a few images from some documentaries that has been made by Farida Kelfa about Tunisia, a youth in Tunisia. We will make it available if someone wants to see it, because it's a very authentic moment of a revolution. And it shows what is the relation between someone what is shot and the filmmakers. It shows also the truth of images through some photographs, so that's why it's very interesting to think about the authenticity that is brought by a creator. And it's also interesting because now Farida, you also started to work as a scriptwriter, and did to make a book, French childhood, une enfance française. And you will talk about this path that has been yours.
Yeah. So do you want me to talk about Tunisian youth or between the...
Maybe starting from documentary images. I think it's interesting to ask what is the authenticity, and it is broken somehow. This pact we can make for the documentary with the artificial intelligence.
I think documentary is very interesting because you work day by day and you don't know what you're going to shoot. You know, you go in the morning, especially in Tunisian youth. I was in Tunisia right after the revolution when the president left the country, and it was very... I met all the young activists, and it was still the couvre-feu, the curfew. So everything was very exciting. Young people want to talk, and it was an everyday work without knowing what you are going to do. It's not like a fiction movie, which everything is planned, and you know what you're going to shoot, and you have all the dialogues. And I love the way that you just go with your camera and your cameraman, and you just, you know, it's improvisation. And I love that kind of work. And you have the real thing. You have the truth, because people speak the truth, because they are like, yeah, and they want to talk, and it's very live, very... I love doing documentary. I did like 8 documentary. It was very exciting, and always by myself. And I produce, I direct, I edit. I did everything. I was exhausted after, but there is something very authentic, as you say. And IA, I don't think IA can do something right away authentic. But if they see, let's say, that documentary, right after they can do something like very close to that documentary. They can even speak like in the documentary, but they cannot create it first. So at least as human, we still have the creative way. But for how long, I don't know. But until now, we have still the manette, as I say, the direction.
Yeah, thank you very much. And it puts forward so this dimension of authorship. And you have been further because you wrote your own book, but it was not your intention. And so maybe we can say something, yes, about this unicity
Yeah.
that a computer maybe would have done a film, and
Yeah.
finally you made a book.
Yeah.
So can you tell us something about this authenticity?
It was like I was writing a script based on my life, and suddenly my mother passed away. So I was on vacation. I had to go back to Paris to bear my mother. As Muslim, it goes very fast. It was in 2 days every day, and then suddenly I have to go back to vacation. And I was writing that film, and I said, no, I need to go back to work because otherwise my life's going to be a mess. I didn't want to, I want to be focused on work instead of grieving. But I continue working, and I write. I was waking up like at 3 a.m. in the morning. I was very inspired. And after a few months, I was like, this is not a script. This is a book. And the script changed to a book. And then I sent to a publisher, and they decided to publish it. But it wasn't intentional. It went that way because suddenly, as my mother wasn't here anymore, I feel like the freedom to write my life, my childhood. Voilà.
Thank you. Yeah, so I think in that way we see your narration. What is the closer to reality, to what happened to you? I mean, personally, and also what how you can transform the reality for documentaries. But somehow, as we have to talk about artificial intelligence, we have to come to this subject and how it is applied in the cinema. And so maybe we can explore that aspect with you, Dimitri, through your experience into Yandex, because Yandex is a big company that has a full service of new technology. And so maybe you can tell us a few words about what are the state now and what are the perspective and what are the plus and minus of artificial intelligence, because just to summarize, Yandex is also it's a platform, it's a VOD, but it's also a production company. So how do you see the use of the artificial intelligence and other technologies?
Thank you. Well, obviously, AI is a big thing that everybody talks about, and a lot of people are already creating things. I personally come from a small town in Siberia, from a very working class family, and normally I would have a zero chance of making it to big film. I worked on 7 Oscar-nominated films, and I had the visual effects department in the biggest film production company. And it took me about 8 years to educate myself, because back then there were no schools, no nothing. And I had to learn very complicated software. I had limited internet access. Nowadays, a school-aged person living in some little town with only as little as a phone and access to internet can be a filmmaker. They can shoot it on a telephone, and they can create even visual effects with AI. They can create actors with AI, And basically, as long as they have the story and the goal in mind, what they want to create, they have the tools to make it, and they're not expensive. 20 years ago, if you wanted to shoot something, you needed expensive cameras, film crew with a lot of people, lighting, everything, and it just was not possible for an amateur to shoot something. These days, the barriers between a dream and realizing that dream have become very small. In that sense, AI is a very powerful tool. How we use it depends on us. And obviously, there are a lot of things that are negative about AI. Everybody knows about the recent Actors Guild strike and the screenwriters strike. And naturally, people are opposing this because it may put some of them out of job, screenwriters, actors. But I was a witness about 15, 20 years ago when digital cameras appeared. Every cinematographer would say, "No, I'm not gonna use it. This is this is fake. I'm not gonna use it. I'm gonna shoot on film, and that's it, and that's gonna stay forever." Now, these very same people are shooting only on digital, and they love it. So our mindset will eventually change as we now accept that there are electric cars driving around, that our phones are not just buttons and call things. Technologies are coming into our lives, and now we come home, we can talk to a little device. It turns on the light, it can make you a cup of tea, and we accept that, and we're okay with it. So as long as we understand how to use this tool and use it to our advantage and not use it for creating something bad, I think AI is going to be a big part of our daily lives. Already today, AI is used in lots of things. It creates images, it creates music, it suggests the music that you may like. It helps you search something on the internet. It helps you to write better text. It does help you in many ways, and it is a part of our daily life, even if we don't know it yet. So I would say in probably 5 years, we will see a superstar that's going to be entirely digital. It's going to be just as popular as Naomi Campbell that came on this stage, that everybody will know that person, but it will not be a physical person, it will be a virtual one. But things also probably are not going to change just because of the nature of the human. When television appeared, everybody said, "Oh, it's going to kill the cinema, it's going to kill the theater, it's going to be the only new medium." Look, everybody goes to theater now, and people love it. And they coexist in this world just fine. So as long as we use it properly, I think we have a bright, big future ahead of us. And that future and that creativity has become very accessible, very inclusive for entire world. And the people who are creating this, they can work across the world. It has become very global. A person in Uzbekistan can be working on a movie that's done in Canada, and then parts of it done in India, and then everywhere. So this may even be a uniting tool for the whole world. So that's my 5 cents.
Yeah, it's true, and it makes me think that as a producer that I was before, we always want to spare some cost, and yes, the AI are very good to spare some cost on dubbing, on interpreters, and maybe soon on comedians and top model, as you said, and figures, but. In the end, what we witnessed with the strike in Hollywood and the scriptwriters' big strike is that the professions are mobilized, and there is some resistance that is not only from the users but from the makers themselves. And in the end, the scriptwriters won. They managed to create a regulation in Hollywood so that their authorship will be protected. And so maybe it will have, there's different technologies and different perspective. And so that's why I think the example in Kenyan television is interesting, because you are struggling against piracy. And you are building a regulation in that aim. And so maybe you can also tell us more about your work and what you did in that field.
Thank you. So my name's Ezekiel Onyango, but I like being called Easy. And I'm here in my capacity as the chairperson of the Kenya Film and Television Professionals Association, which is also a member of a very important organization that we call Partners Against Piracy. To start off, I'd like to say, personally, I don't think that artificial intelligence is actually artificial and intelligent. I say that because the knowledge base and the data that AI uses is not artificial. It's actually real data that is fed into it as to provide the knowledge base. And I don't think it's intelligence on its own. It still needs human intervention to provide that level of intelligence. So I look at it as a toolbox that you can tap into to increase efficiency of production and to balance the scale of supply and demand, also improve protection and market access on the side of distribution. That's my thoughts on AI. In terms of what we are thinking of doing at home, is we have existed in a situation where we've not had intellectual property regulations for a long time. And that may seem like a bad thing. It is indeed a bad thing, but we want to look at it as an opportunity, because we have a blank check and a flat slate to start on. And we want to explore how we can use this toolbox to now look into solutions that will increase production efficiency, like he spoke about. And secondly, once the products are ready, how can we protect them? How can we do content tracking? How can we increase market access so that in the end there's economic outcomes for the filmmakers?
Thank you. Yes, your presentation is there behind you if you want
Okay.
to give more specificity.
So maybe you can move on to the next slide. Yeah. So when you talk about the film industry and what it means to us at home, is that when we look at what we spend in production, 30% of what we spend is what directly goes to what we call film expenses. 70% of our expenditure supports other sectors. So it's a critical component of contributing to our country's GDP and GVA. And that's why we want to ensure that we know when we protect the film industry, we are protecting the 9 other sectors that rely to support it. Next slide. This just demonstrates to you a research done by Partners Against Piracy that the association is part of, what kind of losses that the creative industry in Kenya suffers from piracy. And that's why the intervention of using AI as a tool to explore content tracking, IP protection, and ensure that the consumers are not visiting illegal sites, and we provide them with sites that are more efficient and cheaper to access content in the right way. That's it.
Thank you very much. I think it's very important to talk about it because it is also one part of the issues. And before maybe to go on this specific aspect of the regulation, maybe we can also have more information about India and Bollywood. And there has been a strike too in Bollywood or not at all?
Yeah, it's one of the largest industries in the world today. And we use a lot of AI. We use AI to create backdrops, a lot of animation. We really use it to the hilt. And if you see some of our last couple of films, they're totally based on AI. And they went to the Oscars also. We got something for the music, etc. And but we are still improving on it because it's a tool. It still needs to be exploited to the hilt. And we started doing it. And in the next 2 years, we'll really take it. For us, it has reduced costs greatly because we used to go and shoot in so many locations. All that you can do it in one room now. You can create anything you want. And since our movies are all based on song and dance and, less of in-depth stories, it's more of entertainment. AI is a very big tool for us. And what we are calculating in the next 2 years is going to bring down the cost of production tremendously. And that adds to the value. We can do more films. As it is, we are the highest producers of films in the world today. We make something like 600 to 800 films, and these are all big budget commercial films. And unfortunately, my friend Boni Kapoor couldn't make it. He was due today. He's made 34 blockbusters. If you take the value, it's in billions of dollars. And so I'm actually representing him. But I look after the technical side. So we actually on the back end use a lot of AI and all the new things that are coming up, immersive technologies, and literally you can create anything you want. I can create a surface of Mars here and have a vehicle going on it and have a volcano erupt. So this was not possible earlier, and it used to take a lot of time. With AI, I can do it in just a couple of days with maybe 1/100th of the cost. So for us, it's a great tool, and we plan to use it a lot more in the future. But of course, as he was rightly saying, certain things don't change. Reality will never change, So at the end, we need a good mix of both. That's what I feel. I'm not a filmmaker, but I do the back-end work. So I understand technology, and I understand how the director's view or his imagination can be put into reality using all these tools. AI is also one of them.
So for you, it does not reduce it's not a reduction economically speaking. In fact, because it will enable to create more films. So although maybe there will be less scriptwriters, less decorators, less comedians in the end, like
No.
there will be more films. So
See, what we do, it
more
is not...
informaticians maybe.
No, it will not remove, it will not... all these people are going to be there. What I am talking about is creating backdrops, stories which are different. It's like going to Mars and having a film shot there, which could be a romance. So what we are doing is we are creating different backdrops, different things which are right now not possible. But you still need those people to think, to act. So I don't think, as he rightly said, it'll add value, but we are not taking anything away from... You still need actors, comedians, actresses. You still need all that. This gives you... It augments the whole, effect. And you can dive into things that you could never think earlier. Like go to the bottom of the ocean and plan something, have a city there. So all this is up to your imagination, and we can create it. So it's actually a very powerful tool, but it still needs a good writer, a good creative person to put the whole thing together. I mean, I can give you the most expensive pen, but if you don't know how to write, It's
Can you
still just a pen.
hear you better if you...
I'm sorry, not used to.
Thank you. So yeah, I totally understand this aspect. In terms of intellectual property, who the films, the image are belonging to? Then it's the computer. It's because there is some question now about the property of the images, for instance, that are used in
It's
the
a
software.
combination. It's a combination. So we use a lot of software, very high-tech software. That software is expensive, and then we customize the software, and AI actually helps us to customize what we want. But you still need the basic tools. So, and most of these tools that even Hollywood uses were developed in India. In my country, a lot of very high-tech films, all the tools were done in India. We developed that software. And now we are using AI to take it to a different level. So fortunately, we were still at the back end 10 years back when big Hollywood films were being made. Most of it was made in cities like Hyderabad and New Delhi and Bangalore. What you see is just what was actually shot. Everything else was done in India. So we are now taking, but earlier we were like a back end to the Hollywood guys. Now we are doing it ourselves, and we are bigger than them. Our films are making more money than most of them, They make one or two big blockbusters. We make about 20 of them.
This is the commercial dimension,
The
for
commercial.
sure. Yes.
I am only talking commercial, madam. I am not into art space and documentaries and things. I am hardcore commercial, where big money is involved and big money is made.
But without being into art and documentaries and authenticity, maybe about truth also. There is a question, ethic question that is arised, and about the status of the image. And I think it's something we can talk about also. If tomorrow we decide to make a biopic about Charles Aznavour, and we make him talk and act as he is alive, and there is some ethical question that can be raised.
But I think maybe, go ahead. Just the person who's going to put all those things together is going to be the director. It's not going to be like the AI. That's what I think, but you know better than me.
Well, we are in the gray zone because right now the laws, there are different areas they don't cover. Like you said, if somebody decides to create an entirely digital person, but it looks like an actual person that exists or existed, what kind of law applies? There are different laws in different countries. There are no standard international laws. So as the technology evolves, as we adapt to it, I think there will be laws, there will be exact regulations on how this works and the boundaries to which you can legally go. And also, naturally, there are creative boundaries on how you show it. Because if a person is from a beloved movie like Star Wars, they do that with the actors who starred in the very first 1977 film. They are brought back in the modern films, and the fans love it because it is, one of the characters that came back again, and it is a part of the culture, part of the history, and naturally it has been, a subject of different talks of whether we should do it or not. So it is an ethical and legal adaptation issue that we have to go through as long as everything else is going.
The creative process, whether you're making film, art, whatever you're making, is inherently tied to the creator's worth. Whether you're painting, whether you take a picture, whoever has created, whatever they've put out is inherent. is inherently connected to their sense of identity and worth. And so, like he has said, it's a gray area because even in traditional filmmaking, we used to have body doubles, where there's a lead actor who's a superstar, and then there are people who look like them who do the hard scenes, but the full credit and the rights go to the superior superstar. And so artificial intelligence will just provide digital body doubles in a way that as a tool to create efficiency and reduce cost. However, the issue of rights will become a problem. That I can squarely tell you will become a problem because even as a graphic designer or a VFX artist who's using the software, you're still creating. And at some point, when the level of compensations don't make sense, when the sense of isolation don't make sense, when the lack of credit and lack of being given your honor becomes a problem, then that issue will become big for big blockbuster films.
It's like this, sir. You can't fathom all the problems. You see, technology today, you get something, right? You cannot really conceive of all the problems that are going to come. The problems will come, we will have solutions, certain cases will be filed, it will get settled. But technology, once it takes off, you can't really stop it. Just to give you an example, today we have the technology in India where I can put up a chair next to me and Tom Cruise would be sitting and talking to you and you wouldn't know that he's not there physically. And then we use AI, so we will, the diction, his actions will be exactly. Unless you put your finger and you realize there's nothing there, I can have it projected and it will look so real. So tomorrow these IPR issues are going to come up. But then there are lawyers, there are courts. We will find ways to settle these. No, but you really can't stop the use of technology once it comes out. It's like a bomb.
You're absolutely right. And to add on
But
to
but
that,
like it'll find its own way. I understand what he's saying, but when you're developing something, you cannot really see what's going to happen 10 years later, and how it's going to change, and how creative people are going to change it. But then, if we have infringement on personal things, then there are laws. Countries will take cognizance of it and do the needful. But today we have technology, which he's right, we can do anything. I mean, I can have the US president sitting next to me and talking through all projection and artificial intelligence. And so real. Body doubles, they're obsolete now, nobody uses. I can use real people without being, them being there. So these things are going to create problems, but we'll find ways to solve it.
to add on to that, I think that with that reality, it is also true to say that there will be massive job losses. But at the same time, there will be massive new jobs created. So the scale will balance because there will be things that will become obsolete. When technology, it's like when we used to shoot on film. Film labs are obsolete and those guys were rendered jobless. But new jobs were inherently created. And that's the beauty of technology. It wipes out, but also creates a new slate for the same reverse effect. So
it finds its own way, like a river, it will ultimately find its own way. And you really can't debate on all this. You may say 10 people may lose jobs, but that will not stop Indians on working on AI and making things work, So we can keep having this debate, but ultimately, whatever is happening will happen. The sooner we realize it, the sooner we adapt, and the sooner we use it on a larger scale. It can be used for so many other things. It can be used in medicine, in surgeries, Someone has to take that initiative.
Of course, there is different application, and here we are talking only about cinema, and it's we don't talk about medicine, and a lot of other applications that are very important. It does not concern I don't want to appear as conservative and to not to want any progress, not at all, of course. But someone we were talking, I think it's something we could go on with Dimitri, because When you said that, okay, before people were shooting with in cinema 35 millimeters, and then they started to digital, and now they prefer digital, but still, we still have comedians, for instance. And in fact, in the human being, maybe people don't want to be informaticians, and they will still be comedians. And so you see, the will to make films comes from financier, but also from the makers. You cannot, no, what do you think, Dimitri?
Well, today we have machines that can make any kind of sculpture you want, anything. But the value is only in sculptures that a sculptor created. Even if it's not as technologically advanced, there's still a human art and talent input into that values. So I think obviously the technologies are here to stay. The whole civilization depends on technologies. It's what drives us tomorrow. Uh, Not so long ago, we didn't have penicillin. People were dying from simple diseases. The technology helped. Now it may go to other areas. So technology will be consistently evolving, and it's very wise that some jobs will go out, but new ones will come in. And I think overall it will be pretty much the same balance. But the value of the human being putting their talent into something, no matter if it's something very complicated or something simple as Banksy's artwork, it will, I think, will still be here, and it will be even more valued as technology evolves, because it will be, the authentic human factor. It's like you can use a coffee machine, you can push a button, you can get a coffee, but you can go to a cafe where they, make a coffee on the sand, and it tastes better because, you saw the process and you feel that somebody has put their heart and work into it. So I think it's going to be pretty much that way for a long time.
Just to add on what Vladimir said, and I speak from the heart and soul of a filmmaker, because it is very painful to make a film and then to look at your numbers and see there were 7.3 million downloads that were illegal. Why it's important to have these conversations, as they may sound maybe abrupt as complaints, is as technology advances, let it not leave behind the opportunity to innovate solutions that will fix the problems that we've experienced as filmmakers, especially on the side of rights. Right now, the UN is having conversations on AI regulation globally. I have not seen in that table and in that congregation any creative industry being represented. So there is security being discussed on how AI will impact security, on how will it impact innovation, medicine, and all other sectors. But the creative industry, which is grossly being affected by this, is not even part of that conversation. So such forums like we're having today add on to the voice to highlight the importance of inclusion, which then deals with the digital divide that technology creates, because you cannot compare the global north and the global south in terms of technological advancements. The capacity that a country like India will have will probably be the whole capacity that the continent of Africa will have. And so how can we move forward, advancing technology, but trying to ensure other regions are also leveling up? And that's why it's important for us to share and understand the problem that may be in sub-Saharan Africa may not be a problem that's experienced in Europe. But how can we then work together and bring cross-national policies that help us to use AI and we move forward together? Thank you.
Thank you. It's very interesting to talk about it in that way too. Yes, we have a path to go through. And maybe there is some question from the audience. I don't know if there is a because I was told to give the floor to the audience. So still, I want to try if there is someone. Yes, there is a manifestation there.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your thoughts that you shared. They are really important. And I saw a study that was in 2014 about economics of motion picture. And they said that in 1998, in top 10 best selling movies. There were no remakes or sequels, and in 2012 the picture is changing absolutely. 7 out of 10 movies, the highest paid movies, are sequels or remakes. And my question is, do you think that original and creative films may indeed lose their place in mainstream cinema in the near future due to the rise of franchises, sequels, and remakes? And what steps can directors and studios take to maintain a balance between commercial success and the development of innovative ideas? Is it possible that viewers will get tired of the sameness and start demanding more original content? Thank you.
I think I can answer to that.
Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
I
To summarize the
understand it.
question is that, in fact, there is more and more sequels and remakes and remakes, and so no less original formats. So it's just a fatality somewhere.
I can tell you that every film studio is constantly looking for new talent. Everybody wants new ideas, new stories, and it's somewhat like a stock market. There are stocks that are safe, the blue chips that big company put money on, but there are these high risk, high reward stocks that sometimes become the new phenomenon on the market. So it could be the same thing with the film. If somebody talented has their story, they need to find a way to a film producer to show their talent, and I'm pretty sure that we will see new big names, new big films that may result in 100 years in remakes, but everyone who's famous now at once been called crazy. James Cameron was called crazy. George Lucas was called crazy, and nobody wanted to do anything with them because they're, came with huge budget and crazy ideas that nobody could realize. And now look at the movie posters in box office.
The answer is creative economy. You create something, it doesn't work, you'll never make it again. See, today, making anything is so expensive that if you fail once, you will not try it. And, in India, we have this saying, there are basically 10 stories. They have been going on for the last 100 years. You can remold them, repackage them, but ultimately there are only 10 stories to be told. How you tell them every time, every year, every decade, it changes. But except for one or two James Cameron, kind of fiction films or very, very science fiction, nothing has changed. We still have the same romance and everything. We keep seeing it. So the day people stop seeing, nobody is going to make it. Today, making anything is a very expensive process. And ultimately, there are people behind it who are funding, various projects. And if they don't find the numbers are coming in, they won't do that mistake. Nobody makes a large film with his own money just to show his son or daughter, It is for the audience. If it doesn't do well, nobody is going to, fund a project like that again. So basically, it comes down to creative economy. You have to keep thinking of reinventing the same stories, putting it on a different platform, different context, and, different visuals. I hope I have answered your question. It took me some time to understand it, though.
And maybe I can just add one thing about Central Asia, because these last 2 years we developed a lot of programs, like talking from the French initiatives, and we made a workshop with the National Center for Cinematography in the Cannes Festival with 8 Central Asian talents. And I've seen there is a lot of lab, Women Watch Uzbekistan, Alternativa, we did Eurasia Doc also, and a lot of French producers and European producers are very interesting to have new stories, new images, new aesthetics, and so we see that they are looking. Also, we have a lot of filmmakers in France. They are very open to other stories. Yes, and so I think that's also the trend somehow. I mean, because we are in Central Asia now, in Uzbekistan, it's important to tell it that there is still some opportunities, and it's a worldwide market also, and so that opens some possibilities. I don't know if there is someone want to say something more. No. Another question, maybe? Yes. If the microphone.
And good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for receiving our speech. So I have a kind of fun question for you to kind of relieve from this stuff. Can you tell me, each of you, your favorite movie? Yeah, that's interesting.
More relaxed question. We didn't hear. Casablanca?
I don't know, maybe the time of the gypsy, the Emir Kusturica movie, Le temps des gitans en français.
Oui, c'est
Voilà.
ça. Yeah, Times of Gypsies. Dimitri?
My favorite is Phenomenon, starring John Travolta by John Turteltaub. It's about a regular guy, an auto mechanic, that suddenly gets his supernatural abilities and keeps telling it is in us. We just have to learn how to use it.
My favorite film is called Nairobi Half-Life. It's a film that was made from a capacity building program done in Kenya, and it turned out so great that I never get tired to watch it. It's directed by a Kenyan director called Tosh Gitonga and was produced by a local company called Ginger Inc. in support with the German government that was doing the capacity building training.
Thank you. Yes, it's make us eager, yeah, to discover it. Yes, that was the last question, or someone else here? Yes. The micro, please.
Hello, thank you very much for the presentation. And you just mentioned that there was a program which helped to develop some actors here for the movie, right? So my question to the speakers, do you plan to cooperate with Central Asian movie production to make a movie in the future?
The reason we are here, we are looking at various locations, and maybe in the next 1 or 2 years you'll find quite a few songs and dances being choreographed here, background of Samarkand and Bukhara. We are seriously looking at it because we are tired of Europe now. Indians have seen too much of Switzerland and Germany and whatever. So we are looking at CIS for our backdrop.
Thank you.
At least we are. I don't know about others. We are.
Great. Good news. Thank you. Yeah.
The reality, in my view, is that there is something called culture in the world. And in my view, it remains the only unexhaustible resource that we have as filmmakers. When we tell cultural stories and we explore each other's culture, it's an endless feat of films we can make. So to answer your question, yes, we are looking for possible collaborations to see how intercultural relations can end up in the screen and make good money. Thank you.
I produce visual effects, and we're constantly looking for new partners all over the globe because we have a lot of films that need visual effects. So if you're somehow in visual effects, animation, or close areas, please find me. We'll be happy to work with someone from Uzbekistan and know the teams from here.
Farida.
I would love to do a movie here in Uzbekistan, especially in Samarkand. There is such a beautiful, prestigious monument that I would love to film and have a story inside the country, within the culture, and something that speaks to all over the world, to every kind of people. So I'm very, I can't wait to do that. I'm sending a message now.
Thank you. I hope it is heard because it will be very interesting for sure. Yes, one more question. If there is still the micro somewhere. Two questions.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for your presentations. Yeah, I'm not a movie scholar nor interested in like a movie crazy dork, but I do admire your professions because of the fact that you guys are literally making beautiful stuff out of just ideas and imaginary stuff and making a good living, which is, I think, is one of the most important industries in the humans that can drive them, to motivate them to work harder and to work more. But the thing is that I'm interested, that you guys have also told before that you guys are also willing to work with Central Asia movie industries, but considering the fact Central Asia lack the point of movie making, and that is something that's called opportunity. But you guys are telling that how that intercultural stuff could end up. But we have to, I don't know, but there's got to be a plan that can make up, pretty much of a good movies, because we have also like a lot of undiscovered sides of movie making, and that calls also opportunity, right? And then maybe you guys can inspire to newborn Christopher Nolan's. Who knows? My question is this: how do we plan to make sure sustainable growth to inspire other cultures to make that movies as well? Thank you. I hope you guys understood what I'm talking.
Well, I'm having a master class here on the 4th. So please come if you're interested in how the visual effects are made. Maybe I can get you inspired and you'll work in that area.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I think a lot of people came for the conference, and it will give place to new collaboration, new initiatives, and in the education field too. And I think it will be very useful. There is a nice festival in Uzbekistan called Cinema Love, where we can discover new talents from Uzbekistan. And I think also it's that kind of program that can travel to show that there is already some good directors, interesting directors here. I think the young girl, you want to ask a question, yes?
Hello. So I have the question, and also I'm not agree with one of them said that I can replace the place of the workplace, like the shortage of the place and the future workplaces. But however, yes, it's the balance, but it takes a lot of time in order to learn to the future jobs. And this is the first point. The second one is that where you can see the limit of using AI in your cinema, or while you're making the cinema, the filters, or I don't know, whatever, just the limit where you can see. And you say, stop, it's the limit using AI, and it's just a natural one. Thank you.
I don't think there's a limit. I think as soon as you use it, you use it as much as you can, because it's so easy, for my personal view. So it's an amazing tool. So it's like, you know, when the movie was silent and suddenly it start to talk. So no one went back to the silent movie. So we just have to adapt ourselves, and I'm sure we can find a way to work with that new tool all together. I don't think it's going to take us our jobs, you know. As you say, AI cannot replace intelligence. AI in itself, it's not intelligent. It's an intelligence tool, but ça ne crée pas de l'intelligence. It doesn't create intelligence. Intelligence is human, until now.
Is there any limit to?
We are always running short of time, money. There is no time to think all this. I mean, I wish I had the time to think that, you know, this creativity or AI can take me where, but we are so short of time every time that we are, you know, busy completing schedules and planning new ones. I really don't have the luxury. So, and she rightly said, you know, when there was a silent era, and, you know, when you had films talking, there was a big, people thought, you know, we would be abusive and this and that with language. We've moved on. Nobody goes back to the silent era except husbands like us, where we are quiet at home. So, other than that, silent era is just gone, you know. So, similarly, things will find their way. And I don't think creative people really think of the end as such. They're so deep in how to use it in the present that, you know, we really don't have the luxury of thinking where it's going to end. Because we have a job at hand every day, and that has to be done. We are running, you know, on other people's money, and we have to complete schedules. So it's really not a luxury that I think we can afford, or at least we can afford. I don't know whether I've answered your question, but you come and see, come to Bombay, go to a studio, and you'll understand. It's all, you know, chaos. So, but I think, you know.
Okay, but personally for you, where is the stop?
I've never thought about it, madam.
It's not a personal question. Yes. In fact, it's a business question. You handle it under the business aspect.
Yeah.
Yes, of rentability.
To me, it's a great tool. And as he was rightly saying, you know, there are certain checks and balances which we have to put, which the government or the concerned authorities have to take care. That's not really in the creative domain. And if the concerned people take care, then I think it will move well, and we will be able to do a lot more than we are doing today. And that immersive experience, which is going to be a reality in a couple of years. You know, you will be able to walk inside a film and come out. You know, you can become a part of it, and that's going to happen in the next 2 years or a couple of years. You become a part of the film. You can go inside and come out. So we are thinking in those terms, and that's the limit which I know will happen in the next 2-3 years, or maybe a decade from now. You become a part of the film. So that's the level of creativity or AI where we are going to reach very soon. Today you sit down and you're talking to me, or you're watching a film. But in the next 5 years, you will go inside the film, come out, and again sit there. So it's going to be a very different experience. You've got to imagine what it's going to be in the next 5-10 years. I don't think you can really visualize it. We can, because we see that technology changing every day. And that's what is really happening. So I really don't have the luxury to see the end of it.
Maybe it will be the regulation, as we told
he's
it a
right.
bit late earlier.
But that's a different body. The government has to look at various regulatory mechanisms which have to be put in place. It's with aircraft. When the first plane flew, nobody could think that, you know, ultimately we will have so much of air traffic. imagine what happened 50, 80 years back. So similarly, there's going to be a lot of new regulations coming in, and it has to come in. But that's of, that's a different body.
Limit is a very dangerous word for creativity. I will encourage you to not use the word limit as a creator. But to answer your question, I'll give you a life example. The mobile phone, how it has evolved with humanity. Just over a decade ago, there were things that you could not do on your phone. But today, you do your banking, you do your social life, you do almost everything with your phone. It's become your next best companion. In the same way, that's how AI will become a creator's companion if we look at it as a toolbox to increase efficiency. So scrap limit and say, how best can I use this to be the best? Thank you.
And a lot of crime is happening on the mobile. So there has to be a regulation in place.
Yeah, for sure, because we cannot manipulate images in whatever way, make someone say something he didn't say, but yeah, it's the law after, and it has to come, of course. A good metaphor was the film from Quentin Dupieux. I don't know if you have seen this film, the second act, about a director with artificial intelligence. It's interesting on the limits somehow, but it's art also, so on the creation, so I encourage to see this film. Yes, I think it was a good conclusion somehow. Yes, that we have a lot of possibilities with artificial intelligence, new technology, that it does not replace intelligence. We need creators. And I would like to say just one word about, we edited in the ministry a guide of authorship, contract for audiovisual and cinema, that I wanted to make a presentation, and finally it was not the case. So it's something where we can find it as a resources, because authorship will remain somehow, whoever is it, and we have to create this chain of authors. It will evolve. We need to integrate it with digital tools. And yes, it's probably the future steps. Yes, I think, I don't know if you want to say a word to finish, to conclude? Farida?
No, I think we don't have to be afraid of the tech, of the new tools. They will help us, and it's not like in the 2001 Kubrick movie. It's not going to end up badly. Instead, maybe we are too stupid to control that, but technology helps a lot, and even in creativity, not only science, medicine, and all of things. So it's very important. It's something that we shouldn't be afraid of. It's the contrary. It's a new companion. Voilà.
Thank you. Ezekiel?
I speak from the angle of a filmmaker from sub-Saharan Africa. Our problems are problems that other regions went through a while ago. And for us, it's important to remind the world that while we have the absence of these robust IP frameworks, use of technology in things like content tracking and robust IP mechanization, a lot of African filmmakers are becoming disenfranchised. That is leading to social exclusion for them, that leads to mental health issues, and eventually they just lose hope and stop doing what they love doing. So my appeal is to the world of the Conference of the Creative Economy to first thank you for giving us a platform and allowing us to interact with colleagues from other parts of the world, to learn from each other and see how best we can use AI to correct the problems that are facing us now, and also to innovate for solutions that will make us catch up with the rest of the world. Thank you.
I think that we all, as users, creators should learn how to deal with this new technology, make rules for it, make uses for it, and we can all make a different future for us. And what it's gonna be depends on all of us. So if you're out there, if you're creating stories, creating films, or maybe you're a doctor trying to find a solution for some disease, it's the technology is there for you, and it's going to evolve. How you use it depends only on you. So let's make a better future for all of us together on a platform like this.
Thank you.
I think Uzbekistan is a beautiful country. All of you are very beautiful people. We'll try and do something big in this country in the next 2 years. That's all that I can say. And we had a wonderful time. And this is my 4th or 5th visit to Uzbekistan, and hopefully we'll do something big with this country.
Thank you very much, and it's very inspiring. Thank you for this dynamic and inspiration, and we see that you will come back to Uzbekistan, so it's very positive. Thank you. So thank you very much. We can applaud, please, our speakers. Thank you, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you. And we have gathered valuable insight from this discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, speakers, dear participants, the first day of our conference came to an end, and we are waiting for you tomorrow. Xonimlar va janoblar, konferensiyamizning birinchi kuni o'z nihoyasiga yetdi va sizlarni ertaga kutib qolamiz. Ayni dam maxsus sahna ko'rinishi sizning e'tiboringizga havola qilinadi. Xo'sh, marhamat qiling, sahnada Yuan Bourgeois jamoasining ijrosi. Approach 17 opening performance by Yuan Bourgeois and his team, performed by Lucas Tuna.